Hey everyone, it's I, Alex. I'm a little late to the party on this one. Shenmue Zhou made a video, saying, will retro gaming, actual games themselves, go up in value as time goes on? Well, that's a good question, honestly. Well, I don't know if I should be making a video response about this because I'm only 17, and I didn't grow up with the Sega Genesis Super Nintendo. I kind of grew up with the late era of the Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, and grew up with the GameCube and and PS2 era. Now, for some reason, back in 2009, I decided to get into retro gaming because I owned a Dreamcast back in 2004, and I played Power Stone, Virtual on Horatio Tangram, some fighting game from Sega and Activision, and Sonic Adventure. Now, I thought Dreamcast was the coolest freaking thing. This just happens to be here. I didn't actually set this up, with removable memory cards, a little screen. Everything about it was so cool. Now, I thought, man, I want to go back into Dreamcast. I want to go back and get some games for this thing. So once I started with that, I got into retro gaming collecting, as you'll say, or whatever. And since then, I'm like, I want to expand. I'm like, well, I want to see what Sega Genesis is like, because I remember playing it a few times at my cousin's house, and etc., etc. I got into that, then NES and Super Nintendo, Sega Saturn, and Nintendo 64, which I already had. Anyway, I want to get into that. This is a completely different story. Now, in terms of the games going up in, value, a lot of them can. Like, for example, some games that didn't sell well at all, or probably won't be re-released, or it's the original version is so much better than the remake. People still hold the original, dear to their hearts, and it didn't sell well. All right. An example is Conker's Bad Fur Day. Now, I was lucky to get a hold of this, but that game itself right now is pretty expensive. Probably $80. If you're lucky, you might get it for $50. But at my retro gaming shop, Soundaround, they have 4 copies of the game, but they're $60 each. And there's one copy that's $49.99 that has the label all screwed up, but with label intact, it's 70 or 80. So yeah, that game is going to go up in price. There's no way I can see a game ever being released on the Wii U Virtual Console or anything, because Rareware is not with Nintendo anymore. So that game will probably stay up in price. As for the remake on Xbox, will stay up in price because it didn't sell well and not many people want it, so it didn't sell well like that. And then there's other games that should be re-released for PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, even Wii U, or maybe the upcoming PS4, like Magic Knight Rayearth, or let me take a look here. Let's see, Panzer Dragoon. Well, Panzer Dragoon itself is actually pretty cheap, so it must have sold well, and even though it's a good game, I don't see it going up in price anytime soon. So yeah, Magic Knight Rayearth, the Sega Ages, all the all the Working Designs games. Well, will they be released? I don't know, because I keep saying Atlas. Working Designs is no longer here, and I don't know if they hold the rights or Sega can't put them out on the current consoles. So we're not sure on that. Now, current games they're on the Dreamcast, for example, and Sega Saturn, Guardian Warriors. That game is very expensive still for some reason, even though it's been re-released on Xbox Live Arcade, even though it would have been pretty good on the PlayStation 3, but I understand that point. Then there's Radiant Silvergun, that's on the Sega Saturn, Japanese import only, and that was really expensive. And then there's Donpachi, I think it's called. That was expensive, still is, on Sega Saturn for a Japanese import. And why am I have shadows under my eyes? Okay, there's light. Alright, so those games are so expensive, even though they've been re-released on the current consoles. Then there's games that are cult classics and have cult following, like Skies of Arcadia. When the game first came out, not many people paid attention to it. It had a small fan base, and now it's starting to grow. It's similar to the likes of Shenmue. It's funny because I'm making a response to Shenmue's don't has the same name. Alright. Yeah, it has a cult following, and people are making petitions to have the game re-released or have a sequel, but that's a different story. So, in short, do I think retro game would go up? Yeah, in price, like all the games in general? Yes, I do. But for the most part, yes. But for the other half, no. Why? Because some of the retro games out there, people don't want. They either just suck, or there's enough copies out there where they won't like, be as expensive. Like, there are games that have a lot of copies out there that are expensive, like Sonic Adventure 2 on the Dreamcast, Power Stone 1 and 2 on the Dreamcast. A lot of Dreamcast games I'm bringing up here are kind of expensive anyway. I mean, I'm not sure, well, Dreamcast didn't sell that well to begin with, but still, there's a lot of copies of, say, Power Stone 1 and 2, but yet it holds value. It's like Super Nintendo games, like a lot like Super Nintendo games, Nintendo 64 games. Like a game like Pocky and Rocky by Natsume. I'm pretty sure that game's still decent, or pretty well, but yeah, it's still pretty damn expensive, especially if you want to find the box. Hell no. And like Harvest Moon for the Super Nintendo came out in 1997, 1998, one of those 2 years. Late in the era, that's the big problem that they did. And that game didn't sell well, as far as I know. And Earthbound, that game is probably never going to be re-released, because for some copyright issues from what my friend told me, like, it was on the Wii Virtual Console, I think, in Japan, and it's already on the Wii U one, I think, I don't know, but, so we may never get that game on digital release, so that game's going to stay up in price. And as with the digital thing as well, I mean, I'm kind of growing into the age of digital downloading on Xbox and PS3. I don't really like it that much. Like, I got a game recently, Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. It's a JRPG on the PS3. One of the best games I've ever played in my life. And it's hard to do that, except for the games from my childhood. But still, like, it's on PS3 download on the PlayStation Store. I don't want to do that because, like I saw, if the system dies and your hard drive crashes, game's lost. If you have the disc, you could just, if you lose all your data, just put the disc back in, start a new game. No big deal. Unless you're Capcom and you put disc lock content and you don't have the full game to begin with. That's a different topic, downloadable content. But, yeah, so digital downloading, I'm not all for it at all. Like, a little bit here and there. But other than that, no. Retro gaming, yes, it'll probably increase for the most part. So anyway, this is kind of like going all over the place. It's not really staying on the subject of will retro gaming, like, prices rise for games in the future. So, yes, they most likely will. Anyway, this video won't probably be uploaded until a day later after I record this, because it's 11:30 at night. Anyway, I'm Alex. See you later.